Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at infiltrators and all the drama on YouTube, especially within the vegetarian community. And I'm going to say right up front that when you see videos with all the drama, you people doing those videos are either one of two groups. You're either what Lenin would call a useful idiot, or you're part of controlled opposition. And the leaders of the world, the powers that be, know the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. And what's being done right now is what's referred to back in the Roman days as bread and circuses. It's designed as a distraction to keep you from realizing what's happening to our economy. It's a distraction to keep you from realizing what's happening with all the corruption in our government. It's a distraction to keep you from waking up to realize that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We got to quit looking for solutions in the government, any system out there. The solution lies within us and you. We are the solution. And everything's a distraction if you don't realize that. So this is a wake-up call to all you vegetarians out there making these idiotic YouTube videos about drama. I know the need for money motivates a lot of you people. But you're a useful idiot because you're not doing anything constructive in the movement. Now maybe you've run out of ideas, you've been around so long. Well, what else can I say? Well, say anything but making this drama and taking the focus off of what's important, the message, and talking about people. Only small minds talk about people. Great minds talk about ideas. Don't you want to be a great mind? Are you a great mind? Are you a small mind? Are you a useful idiot? Are you controlled opposition? You don't think controlled opposition exists? You're wrong, because I've experienced it here in Houston. When I was on a radio show, we were infiltrated with COINTELPRO. I'll never forget when I first met that person. My spidey sense went off the roof, off the chart. This is what happens when you don't make mistakes. You get reconnected. And your spidey sense, you feel people. And I looked at that person right in the eyes, and they knew I knew. I could almost see their face tremble because they knew I knew. Controlled opposition exists. And how does it work? Well, they tell our message, but then they distract us somehow. And a lot of this isn't intentional. I know there's a lot of useful idiots out there with good hearts. You mean well, but the reason why you're called useful idiots, because you have good intentions and you want to do something, you'll do something you shouldn't do because you don't know any better. And I realize very few people have the big picture, especially vegetarians, because you're still cooking your food, you fools. You think you got a great message, you don't have a good message. It doesn't solve any problems. And then for you guys to chastise people for killing the animals, what are you guys, dumb? Everyone believes they got to eat meat. Who's going to listen to anybody except a really kind-hearted person when you start saying, look what you're doing to the animals? Everyone else all these other meat eaters are just going to look at you and say, what the hell's wrong with you? We got to eat them. Well, yeah, it makes sense. Let's kill them humanely. That doesn't make sense at all. But see, that's the problem. People believe they need the protein. And not eating animals is not the ultimate solution. It just corrects one of the 5 main mistakes we're making. We got to go back to the first mistake. I say this over and over and over for a reason, because everything else is a distraction. Vegetarianism in itself is a distraction because we're not correcting the first mistake. It's got to be raw, vegan. What's wrong with you people? I know what's wrong. Plato knew what's wrong. Whatever deceives men seems to produce a magical enchantment. We're under the hunger spell. You cook vegans out there, what happens when you don't eat? Do you have that all-gall feeling in your belly? That morbid sensation that's created by polluting your food with fire? Do you really think fire doesn't damage your food and it's not going to affect you? Are you in denial? Hell yeah, you're in denial. I know you are, because I know how it works. The frontal lobe just shuts right off. We're keying in the information, but instead of hitting enter, you hit the delete button. It doesn't even register you to people in denial. Think about it. How do you get the attention of a heroin addict and try to convince them that their drug of choice is not making their life better, but worse, and they're going, hey, you don't know my life. This drug makes my life better, you fool. Yeah, cooked food makes my life better. I can eat more food. Yay! You delusional piece of crud. And I'm getting down on you guys because I'm trying to wake you up, trying to rattle your cage. This is what I always do when I get really challenged and the nice guy approach isn't working. I did this with my siblings one time and it worked. and I'm probably batting, well, for a long time I was batting right at 500. And now I don't even want to think of the odds because I'm not batting so good anymore. Because this isn't my approach. I don't like to come at people that way. And yet I know some people, that's what's going to motivate them. I believe the simple solution is just to get enough of us to do something to get everyone's attention. That's why I created a three-step process. The first step is where we get reconnected, because it bumps up those biophotons, the thing we're missing more than anything else, faster than anything else. And once you get reconnected and you realize how important that is, you'll stop focusing on all this stupid drama to get hits to make money. Money's not important. What the hell's wrong with you to think money means anything whatsoever? Because you've been conditioned and programmed to think that. As I've said countless times, life is such an illusion on so many levels, it's totally mind-boggling. Where we live in a system where we compete for everything, and now it's like a contest. If I'm going to impress you, like I'm really something important, I'll have a lot of money. That's how a lot of people think. I thought that way when I went into college. That's why I got the degree I got into it. I'm going to go make some money. And I got into it, was making the money. I go, this doesn't make me excited whatsoever. But I learned some valuable lessons when I was younger. And what can you say? Life has a lot to do with luck, I guess, because you encounter people in your life that you learn valuable lessons from. And I've learned several valuable lessons at an early time in life that just resonated with me. And I realized that other people will feel different about it because that's how we are. We all process energy differently, and I fully understand that. And I'm thankful that everyone's not like me. Life would be boring as hell if everyone processed information and energy the same way I do. And there's a reason why we need different people focusing on different things, because different things need to be done, and different personalities and different people who process information differently will want to do things different. And this is, remember, like the 6 blind men that find the elephant, and they all feel the elephant, and they all describe what they think it is from their limited perspective. So that's how we are as individuals. We have different ways of processing information. And I mentioned this before in a recent video, that I know I'm going to appeal to a certain type of person. And I want to appeal to everybody. So how do you do that? Well, they say the definition of failure is to try to please everybody. I've been aware of that for a long time, and I know that's impossible. So what I've been trying to do is to work on creative ideas on how to get a message out there that will appeal to as many people as I can. And I think I'm getting to a point now where I realize that's just an impossibility. In fact, one of my book ideas was to present information based on different people's personalities, so that if you didn't want to know about the whys, you didn't have to read that section of the book. You didn't want to know this or that, you could go to that section. And I could put together a real simple questionnaire at the beginning to help you know what part of the book you'll want to go to, which doesn't mean you can't go to the other books or other parts of the book. Anyway, needless to say, I'm thinking about doing a video series. I haven't decided if I'm going to do this or not. I seem to put so many things on my plate, it's hard to get much done that way sometimes. But I know I need to update one of my files, and when I do, I'll probably create a video series on that. And I'm not even sure how many videos I'll be able to create with it, because I'm thinking I've got like 2,000 different titles that I can create videos out of, but there's going to be maybe 100 titles for one idea, but maybe only 2, or one will only have 1, or 10 of them will have 1, or whatever. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that direction or not. Again, it's an ambitious project, but I think it actually ties into one of my ideas. And that is one of my ideas for a book, and I've done this already. Again, I've written dozens of books, starting back over 10 years ago, 11 years ago, trying to figure out a clever way to get this out there. And what I do is I have a different type of approach with an introduction and then the chapter. So what I'm thinking of doing in this video series is have a 2-part series, or be like my book, 2 parts, where part 1 will be a whole bunch of introductions to part 2. Part 2 is the same story. But there's so many ways to introduce this message. And I can have several dozen chapters in part 1. And it could be actually bigger than actually part 2. And it will be, because part 2 is not that complicated. The complicated part is getting people to want to know more about it. So I thought this might be an interesting way, since I can't find one way to appeal to everybody. Well, here are dozens of approaches. And maybe, I just thought of this, maybe I could group those approaches into the personalities. So that way each person can say, okay, I've got 6 approaches here that should be the way I like to see things. I'll have to give that some thought. Anyway, thanks for letting me think out loud. You guys know by now that none of this is scripted. I talk off the top of my head. I make mistakes all the time. I listen back to some of the things I said and I go, what? Where did I come up with that? I know better. I don't even believe I said that. So keep that in mind whenever you're watching my videos. If what I say doesn't make sense and all of a sudden I correct it a couple sentences later, it's partly because I'm thinking so far in advance that many times what I say is not what I meant to say. How does that saying go? I know you think you know what I meant I said, but I don't think you know what I said is what I meant. Or something to that effect. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble now. Going back to the topic here, this is, we can make this real simple or real complicated. We make it simple by getting reconnected, and we make it complicated whenever we get distracted. Almost everything we're doing is a distraction, unless we're also getting reconnected. And we got to get reconnected and do downstream work, so we have to be distracted to a point. But most of what we're doing, especially when it comes to this drama, is total poppycock. Shame on you guys for putting out such crap that doesn't do anything for anything, except put some money in your pocket. So put aside your need for money and start putting out content that's important, that will help people make good choices. Do whatever it takes. Use your gift to help motivate people to apply what we're talking about. That's the key right there. Knowledge is worthless unless we apply it. And each and every one of us have our own way of motivating people. And that's what we all need to do. We all got to share our story, our way, that will appeal to as many people that's a lot like you. So again, I realize I'm appealing to a major group of people that are sensitive and they're caring, they're intuitive, they're artistic, they're creative, they like knowledge. That's my personality. And I know I'm going to appeal more to those types than others. But more importantly, it's my message. And that's what it should appeal to everybody, and that's the key. It doesn't matter how I perceive energy, how I use energy. It matters what kind of knowledge that I find. I found amazing knowledge. And it's overwhelming to try to apply it. So what's the best approach? Do the first of my 3-step process. You go down to the description box down below, and you'll see a video I did. It's the first step, and that's a seminar that tells you how to do the first of this 3-step process, where we drink nothing but a gallon or 2 of juices, or 4 to 8 liters of juices every day. Give the body everything it needs. Support the organs of elimination. Support the body in case it's damaged in any way, and this is where it can get complicated, and where you play a role in figuring out how to support your body. And sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. But we don't know that, so you have to monitor what you do. And I guarantee you, my friends, when you do this, you're in for a treat.